This is Pastor Rick Lauterbach, pastor for Walnut Grove Baptist Church, and we're still doing our series, Don't Waste Your COVID-19 Isolation. This is lesson 5, and our emphasis is going to be from Psalm 46. And that's a really great psalm. It's so great that Martin Luther wrote a hymn about it, A Mighty Fortress is Our God. Now, that leaves me to ask some initial questions. Where's your strength? Where's your safety? What is your fortress? Where do you go when bad things happen? When crazy things happen? When chaos seems to have descended upon you? Where's your place of retreat? You know, when there's tornadoes, you can run into a storm shelter and try to weather it out. Well, God is greater than that. God is a place of refuge for the believer. For the one who is trusted in him, he can trust him no matter circumstance, no matter what's going on, no matter disease, tumult, whatever it is. In fact, let's look at Psalm 46. I'm going to read through the 11 verses that is Psalm 46, and then we'll come back through and analyze it a little bit at a time. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. That's a wonderful psalm. Now it is intended for the believing person to understand that their refuge is a God who can be tested, who has been tested, has been tried, and is a place of refuge, a place of safety. That's what it says right there at the beginning. God is our refuge and strength. It's a place where you can go. It's a safe place. When it says a very present help in trouble, it means it's a well-proved thing. God has proven himself over and over and again. You don't have to be in faith with Christ for very long before you're going to be tested. Whether it's tested by things like the circumstances of the world just now with the COVID-19, or whether it's in your own personal life or at work or somewhere else, tests will come. And you need a safe place. You need a refuge. You need a fortress. So if your strength, if your safety, if your fortress is you, that's a frail place to hide. It doesn't offer you much. It simply won't do. It's simply not enough. Look at what it says there in Psalm 46. Verse 2 is very helpful. If God is our refuge and strength and a very present help in trouble, therefore we will not fear though the earth gives way. In other words, everything that I know may give way. Though all that gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea. Again, everything he knows. Though its waters roar and foam. Again, this is a picture of chaos. Though the mountains tremble at its swelling. No matter what happens, no matter what comes, my trust and faith is in God. God is a refuge. God is a safe place. In the midst of an unsafe time, the only place to go is in the safety of the God that holds all things together by the word of his power. That God who sustains, that God who calls into existence, that God who says, there is none like me. I kill and I make alive. There is none like me. That's the God you can go to. And he goes on there, says, there is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. Again, it speaks of strength, of blessing, of the favor of a God who there is no shadow of turning. The same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. God will help her when morning dawns. And then it speaks of the nations there in verse 6. The nations rage. The kingdoms totter. You know, it's amazing to me that men today are trying to do all kinds of things. And I appreciate men who lead. Governors, presidents, kings, whatever they are. I appreciate their leadership, and they are appointed by God to do so well. And yet my strength and confidence is never in those persons. It can't be. That's not a political statement. It's a theological statement. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. See, the strength is God's. It's not in men. God has all strength, all power. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Right? Israel was a tiny nation. Their strength was not in the gods of the nations around them, the false gods of the peoples around them. None of that. Their strength was in their God. Come behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He makes. It's not that he allows them. He's causing them to end. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. These are the things that speak of the strength of man. And God breaks them. He burns the chariot with fire. And then there's this wonderful phrase that so many of us know. Be still and know that I am God. You know, that's quite difficult. To trust in God despite the circumstance. It's much like Jesus in the New Testament. In the New Testament, he's in a boat full of men who look around and they see winds and they see waves. And they don't know if they're going to make it. These are fishermen. These are professionals. And yet it's terrible. And they look around. Master, don't you care? And then he stands up in the boat and says, peace, be still. You know, it's really hard to have peace and to be still. It's hard to be still, but if you're in the presence of God, and that's what I'm after you to do today as we think about this, as we think through this psalm, you need to be still in God's presence. Be still and let him be God. Be still and know that I am God. You don't have to be God. You can't be God, but let God be God, and you be still. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. See, you and I need to be still now in the presence of God. And in a world that is shaking and shimmering all over the place and doing all kind of things about like a boat on the Sea of Galilee, you can still trust in God, who can stand up and say, peace, be still, and wind and wave falls. Still, perfectly still. Now I'm asking you to be still in the presence of your God, to trust in God. Let him be your refuge. Let him be your place of safety. See, you can't trust in the things of men, the strength that they possess. Yes, some men are called to leadership, and God gives them that and calls them to do so faithfully. But yet our strength and our trust is in the Lord himself. So trust in the God who saves. Trust in the God of the Bible. Well, I'll leave you with that. God bless you. You have a good day.